Have you ever met someone who would run across the entire village, sneak into weddings they weren't invited to, and sprint through markets as if it were the Olympics, all for one reason: food? Meet Femi, a man whose stomach had more adventures than his brain. Legend of Afolabi Village, glutton extraordinaire, master of every free meal. In the heart of Afolabi Village, mornings begin like magic. The sun rises over mud houses with thatched roofs, palm trees sway gently, and smoke drifts from cooking fires. The aroma of breakfast travels through the streets, and the village comes alive. And there, walking casually among them, was Femi, a man who smelled food as if it were the most precious treasure in the world. Just passing by, he would mutter, though every sniff and step betrayed his secret mission: finding his next meal. Femi had mastered the art of pretending he wasn't hungry, while drooling at the sight of sizzling akra. 1 bite, 2 bites, and before long, he was seated in the courtyard, plate piled high, smiling like he had discovered gold. The villagers whispered, "There goes Femi again," but he didn't care. If there was food, he would find it. Even events he wasn't invited to, he'd sneak in just for a taste. Soon, he married his first wife, partly for love, mostly for the cooking. And as she stirred her pot of steaming egusi, Femi's eyes widened. Could this be the end of his hunger? But one wife was never enough. Femi's stomach was endless. Wife number 2, and even 3, joined the household. Each cooked with pride, each meal more sumptuous than the last. And Femi? He ate, he sneaked, he devoured. Every courtyard, every neighbor, every festival, he was there. His stomach was a legend. And yet, it never seemed satisfied. By the time wife number 3 arrived, the village elders had begun to talk. "This man," they said, "is eating us into ruin." Femi, unaware, continued his grand feast, from weddings to funerals, every table a battlefield of taste. But then, his stomach gave the first warning. A rumble, a twinge, a hint that even Femi's superhuman appetites had limits. And as the village prepared for the great yam festival, the stage was set for something monumental. That night, the wives gathered. Lantern lights flickered across their faces as they whispered and plotted. "It's time," said one. Special leaves were ground, secret meals prepared, and the grandest feast was laid out. Femi's eyes sparkled as he approached. He didn't know this time, the food was not just delicious, it was part of a plan. And eat he did, dramatically, ecstatically, as if the world depended on it. But suddenly, his stomach protested. A ripple, a warning. Femi had met his match. Panic. Femi dashed through the village like a man chased by ghosts, though really, it was just his own belly. Children laughed, villagers gawked, drums were forgotten, and Femi ran. His kaftan flapping wildly, eyes wide with embarrassment and fear. Behind the bushes, he paused, exhausted. The wives watched, arms crossed, triumphant yet calm. The great glutton had finally met consequences. Femi's journey didn't end in shame. He learned the value of hard work, and perhaps moderation. At sunrise, he could be seen tending the fields, hoe in hand, golden light painting the crops. And as the village watched, Femi grew healthier, stronger, happier. Finally, surrounded by his wives, children, and the bustling village, he stood proud, not just a man of appetite, but a man of heart. And so, the legend of Femi, the village glutton who ran for food and learned to work for life, became a story told for generations, hilarious, chaotic, and utterly unforgettable. Femi's days of hard work and moderation lasted, well, not as long as anyone hoped. One morning, he woke up, looked at the farm, and sighed. "No, too much effort," he muttered. "I miss the good old days." And just like that, Femi was back. Back to sneaking into neighbors' kitchens, hovering at every village feast, and attending every party, even the ones he wasn't invited to. For Femi, food was life, and life was food. Every festival became Femi's personal banquet. Weddings. He arrived before the bride. Funerals. He hovered near the buffet like a shadow. Naming ceremonies. If there was pepper soup or jollof rice, you could count on Femi. Villagers waved their hands, half annoyed, half laughing. Chickens scattered as he passed, children ran after him for crumbs, and the town drumbeat seemed to sync with his stomping belly. One day, Femi even showed up at the elders' council meeting. Not for advice, not for wisdom, but because someone mentioned yam porridge might be served. "Here he comes again," the elders muttered. Femi sidled in, pretending to bow, eyes scanning for food. His stomach rumbled dramatically, like thunder announcing his presence. Femi started challenges of his own. Who could eat more fried plantains? Who could finish a bowl of egusi faster? Of course, he always won, by default. Children cheered, neighbors shook their heads, and chickens, poor chickens, fled in terror. The more he ate, the thinner he seemed, much to the amusement of everyone. "Look at Femi." Children laughed. "He eats like a lion but disappears like a shadow." "Oh, but even heroes have weaknesses." Femi had one: constipation. He groaned, he waddled, he mumbled, a small price to pay for greatness. But did he stop eating? Never. Pepper soup called. Jollof rice beckoned. More whispered sweetly from the plate. And Femi answered, every time. His wives shook their heads daily. "We gave him moderation," they sighed. And he tossed it aside. Yet secretly, they laughed. Every stumble, every belly rumble, every comedic sprint through the village, it was the heartbeat of the village. Sometimes, wife number one would shake her finger. "Femi, moderation." Femi would smile mischievously, pat his stomach, and whisper, "Maybe tomorrow, or maybe not." One bright morning, Femi dashed through the market with a plate of pounded yam in one hand and pepper soup in the other. Children ran after him, laughing. A goat stole his plate once. Twice. Femi yelled, "That goat is after my destiny." The villagers laughed. The elders sighed. And Femi? He kept running, and eating. The great yam festival came again. Femi appeared like clockwork, the uninvited, unstoppable glutton. He leaped over barriers, dodged drummers, and somehow always ended up at the biggest plate. He even tried balancing 3 bowls at once, an epic disaster that sent plantains flying in every direction. And yet, he grinned. He lived for these moments. Femi developed new tactics. He hid behind trees, jumped from rooftops, slid under tables, anything to get first bite. Children played chase with him. Neighbors tried to stop him. Chickens were his constant nemesis. Every day was a new adventure. Every meal, a battlefield. And Femi, the undefeated champion. Even at night, Femi's stomach kept him awake. He whispered to himself, "I am a legend, a man of appetite, the hero of taste." He dreamed of food. He slept near leftovers. He plotted his next feast while the village slept peacefully, or at least, as peacefully as one could with Femi's belly rumbling in the distance. And so, the legend continued, a man who could run across the village faster than a drumbeat, if there was food waiting at the finish line. Femi had learned many things, just not moderation. Because in the end, some habits are too delicious to give up. Some cravings too strong. And in Afolabi Village, the story of Femi the glutton would be told for generations, chaotic, hilarious, and utterly unstoppable. Alright my people, if this story made you laugh, shake your head, or even remind you of that one friend that always wants to change but never changes, then you already know what to do. Make sure you like this video, because Femi cannot suffer under that mango tree for nothing. Comment down below and tell us the truth. Do you think Femi will ever change, or this mango tree is now his permanent address? And abeg, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next crazy story coming your way. Trust me, the village still has plenty secrets, and Femi's Wala is just getting started. Also share this video with your friends, especially that one friend that likes sleeping too much. Maybe they will see themselves in Femi. Thank you for watching, my people. Until next time. Stay laughing, stay blessed, and avoid unnecessary stress before you two go and settle under mango tree like Femi. Peace. Palm tree grinning face with smiling eyes clapperboard.